Alright, so we're gonna talk about this. This thing came in today. Uh, well, 11 hours ago now, but yeah, so it talks about the coil and what Bungie says about it, and I want to give my opinion on it after reading this thing. So we're gonna read through it, and then I'm gonna talk about it a bit. But it starts off saying Destiny 2 finally got true loot rain in the coil, and Bungie says it's ready to make it rain again. We want to make sure that you're getting paid out for that time. Sounds nice and all. Bungie says the coil's rewards aren't a one-time anomaly. Alright, let's get into this. Destiny 2 has always been better at the shooter side of the looter-shooter spectrum, but the MMO finally delivered a true blue loot rain this season with the well-received coil activity. You get multiple chests throughout the coil, and if you play it well, you get a giant room full of chests at the end, all containing valuable in-game materials and some solid weapons. At a recent group interview, I asked Bungie if it's ready to meet the inevitable demands for more coil-grade loot going forward, and the devs team's response was encouraging and at times eyebrow-raising given the miserly payouts we've gotten in past game modes, but I digress. Absolutely began staff designer Clayton Kisco. I don't know, I'm bad at names. We're thrilled with that response line, and I think when we're setting out to make an activity, we are putting the respect of the player's time in the forefront. You can see that in the coil, getting paid out after every boss run, and as things get harder and harder, things take a little bit long. Oh, sorry, get harder and things take a little bit longer. Your rewards grow to match and evolve that level of difficulty. After an hour of playing, we all just thought it's a natural conclusion to have the special room that we could reward players who have mastered that content over the length of time and then to absolutely make it rain for them. I remember implementing the chest and working with audio about staggering some of it so you just didn't hear a loud bang all of a sudden, right? And that feeling of the first time seeing those chests load up and spawning all the, we call them babbles, the engrams, felt really great. We knew players are going to respond really positively to that as well. It really is that simple. Give us a giant room full of useless or useful loot for 40 minutes of effort, and Destiny players will be as happy as clams. Answering a follow-up question about the balance of activity, difficulty, and rewards. Kisco added, we have some internal metrics on the level of difficulty and what players deserve to have and what we want to give them in that regard. So you'll see, especially in Coil, you'll get double the rewards at some point because you're hitting a difficulty level that warrants it. For instance, and again, it goes back to time. The amount of time that you spent, we want to make sure that you're getting paid out for that time. You're there to chase the rewards, right? To have a great experience and enjoy the content, but you don't want to spend a half hour and then only get maybe one weapon. So again, we play the game probably just as much as anyone, and that's a level of feedback when you're playing someone else's content. Like, I don't know. That's something we've try to get in a very early on because it's so important. Rewards are so important to activity that we want to see what the experience is like, and a lot of people are going to see what they got and look at it and be like, I got 2 blues, this is not feeling that good. Or, okay, I got the grenade launcher again, it didn't feel kind of up to par, and so we'll definitely iterate on that. We still have several months of Coil ahead of us after the final ship's delay, so it's a good thing it's actually worth running. Here's hoping future activities, especially whatever is planned, or those still mysterious episodes hit the same bar. It's taking 10 years. Well, that's some separate, I think. But yeah. Anyways, so my opinion on this. First off, this is a bright screen. This white bright screen is horrible for my eyes. My eyes are too sensitive, so I'm sorry. I stuttered a lot there. It's hard to read when it's blinding. I could have put it in dark mode and I forgot to. I'm an idiot. Don't question me. But back to the main point. Bungie's made the mistake again. Hear me out. The Coil is a great activity. I enjoy it. I think it's definitely good. Here's the problem. They want to build something exactly like the Coil. They're not going to change it or alter it worth a crap. And they do say that they know, like, oh, people get the grenade launcher back to back, blah, blah, blah. No, I get it. But here's the problem. The Coil is great because it gives you the material you need for crafting. But mind you, because it's so easy now, everyone's going to have max material. Everyone's going to have everything crafted. They're going to have everything maxed out because it's easy. I do. I almost have everything done with now. There's a lot of weapons I didn't max out just because I didn't really care to because the material was semi-rare. And I'm fine with them making more material. The problem is the in chest give you the material, and once you're done with crafting of every weapon crafted, which, again, next season they'll add another one, it looks like, and same concept. They're putting the craftable weapons as the most common drop, which is good for when you're first trying to craft, but once you get everything crafted, it's pointless. You don't get the excess weapons. You don't get the other Dreaming City weapons to drop from those final chests worth of shit. I think one drops it, and that's about it, if you're lucky. And even then, I've had several runs where I've not gotten a single Dreaming City weapon to drop from the end ones. It's throughout it you get them, yeah, and they're guaranteed Dreaming City, and that's nice. But the end ones are pointless past that. Once I have everything fully crafted, there is no point to it. The problem still stands. And people will be like, all happy about hearing this now, but in reality, this is only a short-term fix, and it's only ever going to be a short-term fix. It was never going to be a long-term, but because everyone jumped for joy, nobody stopped to think. Again, the biggest problem with Destiny players, they never stop and think long-term. And that's the same problem we're dealing with, again, for the 100th time for this game. This is not going to work. People are going to get bored with it instantly when they have things crafted, just like they did again. If Bungie doesn't make it where the weapons, if they add every season, they add random rolled weapons as well as farmable, you can farm in them. If they don't make them, one, good, but two, make it more common to drop, people are going to get bored and not care. They only did it this season because it was the coil it had to do with Dreaming City. That's the only reason they did it. Next time, who knows what they'll do. They might not add anything but the craftable weapons. Which, once you get them crafted and get them all maxed, this event, this stupid thing, becomes useless again. The activities are useless because the crafting exists. Now, could they make it where they always bring out random world weapons with it too? Yes, and I don't think that's a problem. I think that's fine. Bring out the crafted ones that have good perks, but then bring out the random world ones that have some good perks too, or unique perks that purely do that or something, you know, or unique intrinsics like they did this season. There's stuff to it they could do, but they'd have to constantly bring out extra sets of weapons, or bring old weapons back, which people would get annoyed if they just kept bringing old weapons back every season, just to do that. So they would have to bring some new ones and some old ones once in a while here and there, like separate it out. And it's not sustainable. It's really not. Especially not with Bungie's proving that they don't have enough people working on the game. And people are like, oh, but they have so many people. It's not. If they had as many people as they claim working on the game, then we wouldn't have Lightfall. As much of a failure as it was a complete failure. If there was anywhere as many people working, we should not have had Lightfall. I'm sorry, I don't believe for a fact. We went from Witch Queen to Lightfall. Witch Queen was good. That year wasn't half bad. But then Lightfall hit and everything went to shit. And it took them the end of this year to actually bring it back. Last season was okay. And the season before that was okay. But as a whole, still pointless seasons because, yeah. They're not getting the message still. And people are falling for the same thing Bungie always does. They bring something out decent, but that decent thing is a temporary fix. A very, very temporary fix. It is pointless past a certain point. And people are like, oh, well, I don't grind 100 hours a week, or I don't grind this or that. So it won't be a problem for me. Yeah, most of you don't grind that much at all, you're right. But even y'all don't play the game. So, whether it's a brand new player to a veteran, the entire concept of the coil is useless once you have everything crafted. Which, yeah, if you're new to the game, it'll take a while, but that'll only take a while if you buy every other season prior, and there's not even a way to farm all the weapons from seasons prior, so it don't matter. They don't have a way of doing it. If they actually brought a way to do it, then yeah, new players have a ton of stuff to do. Something like the coil comes later on would be a farmable thing, would be sustainable for new players. But veterans are still screwed over at the end of the day. All this benefits is once you get everything crafted still, there's no point playing the activity. You get your material back and you're done. That's like 6 more runs max of the activity. So yeah, they increase it by 6 extra runs. Whoop-de-doo. I'm sorry, but people aren't seeing the big picture still. And this is why I'm doing this, is people are still missing it. This is not a solution. This was a temporary solution. Bungie did something good, yes, but that good was only temporary. Because it's not going to benefit anyone other than new players, and they'll only benefit them until they get everything crafted, which most new players don't go buying everything of the game because it costs over $500 to buy everything for the game. So, they're only going to buy that season. And because you can't get other season stuff right now, other than the activities for, the exotic missions, the rotators. You get some of the weapons from that, but you can't get all of them. That's a limited amount of them. So, yeah. And I don't even know if those are free for everyone then, or you have to buy the DLC. It goes with it. I don't know how that works. I really don't, because I don't need anything from it. So, yeah. But that's the problem we're dealing with here. The problem has not changed. It is still there is no end grind, period, anymore. And they're not gonna. I promise you, when they add another coil-like activity next season, hopefully. But at the same time, it won't be matter because they're not gonna add random weapons that are farmable. And if they do, they're still not gonna make them farmable in the sense they're gonna be the most dropped thing. And even if they do, let's say they make it where they have two sets of weapons you can craft and you can farm. And the farming ones, random rolls can drop whenever. Let's say they do it. You have how many combinations per weapon? Like, who knows how many combinations? Well, you can actually know. You know exactly the amount if you look it up and do the math. But I don't care to because my point is it's a lot of combinations possible. You can get it, and then you're not going to get it. Like, people aren't going to sit there and farm all day when there's several weapons, several things to come from it. Like, when it was a Nightfall, right? When Nightfalls were random as fuck and you couldn't guarantee a weapon even then, it was one weapon. It was predictable. But if they add another activity, it's several weapons you can get. It's like if you run a quill run, right? You can get all shotguns, you can get all hand cannons, you can get all swords from the extra chests and stuff for the Dreaming City weapons. You could get nothing worth a shit, in other words. And that's happened to me several times. But the only reason I keep doing it, or was doing it, was for the material, which I don't need the material now. I'm basically maxed on things, so it doesn't bother me anymore. So that's still the problem. Once you get everything, what is the point of doing the activity? Without them bringing out random rolls, but then if they bring random rolls, they'd have to make them super common, which then people may stick around and farm, but they won't farm forever. It's because there's no actual loot. The looter shooter is not looter. There is no looting in this game. There is here's the loot, let me hand it out to you, and let's give you more. And that's the thing. I like more, but the liking more and actually needing more are two different things, and that's what Bungie keeps making a mistake of. The Coil drops a lot of material, which is nice, because the material was a pain to get before, especially for Ascended Alloys. But now it's so easy, you can max all of your stuff out pretty easily that you have that's crafted. You can make it enhanced perks. So that's the problem I'm saying. Like, there is a problem with it, and the truth is the problem lies with crafting. And I hate saying it because I love crafting. I do think it's a cool thing. I don't think they did it right. I think they really fucked it up, and I think they made it way too easy. The only option is either to make crafting a lot harder or get rid of it. But Bungie won't do either because they like to new players. They want new players to come and play. The problem is I've known plenty of new players to come and play this game, get everything in literally the first season they play, and they don't care anymore. Next season comes around, they get all the weapons and stuff first week. Second week, maybe third week max, they're done. There's no point after that because there's no grind. There's no long-term grinding anymore. And most of the weapons that come out or that are good are either from Crucible, well, Ritual playlists basically, or Trials. And most of the crafted weapons are shit, and only a few of them are good. And those ones are so good, they make everything else shit. So it's like there's an imbalance here between crafting and non-crafting, and that's where the problem comes in. And Bungie's activity is nice. I do like the Coil. I think it was definitely a step in the right direction, but it was only a temporary step. And they're not going to go to the next stage because people are too busy. I don't know what to call it. They're too busy flabbergasted that Bungie did something great that they don't stop and think long term, and that's the truth to it. So I just rant. I don't know how long it's gone on for, and I apologize if it's gone on longer than I wanted. But my point is, this is not a fix. This will never be a fix. This is a temporary fix, not permanent. And Bungie needs to think bigger. And they need to accept there is no such thing as over-delivering, which I will make a video on over-delivering and point out how dumb that is. But my point is, you can't just simply give us the same thing over and over again. That is the mistake you've made for the last 3-4 years, and everybody's bitched about, and why your population has dropped so low. And yet, you're doing the same thing with something new. You're like, oh, one new thing did great. Let's give it to you over and over and over again. What's going to happen? The same effect that just happened. But it's going to happen a lot quicker because people are going to realize it a lot quicker. Like what happened before. So, Destiny is dead. In a sense, it's dead because Bungie has ran out of ideals. They're not listening to the community for ideals. The ones they are listening to are the ones that are not paying attention to the long term. They're only paying attention to the short term. And that's the problem. Do I know what to do? I have a few theories of how to fix the game. Temporary fixes to give you more time, a lot more time, compared to what you're doing now. But That's just my opinion, so what's the matter, right? Just one person's opinion, but yeah. I feel like Bungie's going the wrong way with this again, and they're making the same mistake again, like they always do. And that's why a lot of people will stop playing after Final Shape. And I know people are like, oh, that's not true. It is. There are plenty of people that will stop playing after Final Shape. I've met plenty of them. I've seen plenty of them talk about it. And I've seen plenty of them say this for other games, and they were true to their word with other games. Final Shape, if they should have never announced the Saga end, because that might have kept people going, or it might have just killed it quicker. I don't know. The Saga end might have been the thing that saved it to a little bit longer, or it might have been the thing that killed it in a sense. But they ran out of ideals, and the game is suffering because of it. They don't have ideals. They don't have a fresh perspective, and because of that, this game will fail. So I apologize for the rant. I'm just trying to make a point. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Leave a comment what you think. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why I'm wrong. I don't mind. Just make sure you have a good reasoning, because if it's just you're stupid, you're stupid. Just saying. Anyways, you have a good day. We out of here. Adios. We gone.